Hey everybody. Okay, what we have here is another recording that I had. I actually jumped into a World Cup game pretty late this time. I was in turn 3. It's Spain versus Wales. Wales is on Scorpion. Spain is on Unicorn. And I jumped in a little late, and I did comment on it, but most of my commentary was wondering what was going on. Because I was getting into it so late and I was trying to catch up, and also I was dealing with some real life stuff that I was doing before I actually jumped into the stream. But anyways, so I decided I would talk over this turn because it was actually super interesting. So Scorpion and Unicorn, there's no breaks yet, but both are at 5 honor, and Scorpion has the potential to really honor pressure. And he doesn't have any fate on his characters right now. He has the big Shugenja character that lets him make an opponent lose an honor when you win a conflict. And Unicorn has a Shinjo Shono, Scout, and Nurgwe. So first off, Scorpion, when we jumped into the conflict phase of turn 3, Scorpion goes in on a political fire conflict, which makes a ton of sense. It had 2 fate on the ring, and also it's a dishonor tool, so if you dishonor like the Shinjo Shono, not only are you getting the potential dishonor point at the end of the turn, she does have pride, but and dishonoring the Scout or dishonoring a Unicorn player counts as a point of dishonor. It also would get rid of some of their stats too, right? So it makes it a little bit better than the air ring. Also, air ring on Scorpion isn't as strong because when you gain honor, your box is less easy to use. Whatever. Anyways, he ends up going the air ring into the Feast or Famine because he has no fate on his characters. Also, the encampment is on it, which is really strong. So it makes it makes the world of sense to go to the Feast or Famine right now. If you can break Feast or Famine without any downside, that's huge. But the Unicorn's first action, he defends with the Shinjo Scout and immediately moves the battle over to Upholding Authority, which is definitely worse for Scorpion to break at this point, because Scorpion cards are really powerful and really important. So the Scorpion player actually, he's breaking by exactly enough. He's up by 3, so he plays a poison on his own character so that he's not winning anymore. He's winning, I'm sorry. He's winning the conflict, but he's not breaking, which is exactly what he wants. He wants to get off the fire ring, but he doesn't want to break the Upholding Authority. The Unicorn players probably thinks, oh, you really don't want to break this Upholding Authority if you're playing poison on your own character, so he tries to let it go on the character, but the Scorpion player ends up using Forged Edict to cancel it. He dishonors his favored niece, of course, to do that, but he's working really hard to give his character some penalties, so really interesting. So at this point he's not breaking, which is a really interesting play. The Unicorn player plays the court games to honor a Scout. It doesn't bring him up to winning or anything. I think this was just to put a honor token on his character for a point of honor at the end of the turn. The Scorpion player ends up using away the Scorpion on him to bring him back to neutral status. Also, Alpha Squid was totally trying to tell me what was going on right now, because when I was starting the stream, I didn't have a good handle on what was happening, so I missed how this play happened, which is why I wanted to record it again after. So anyways, he uses away the Scorpion to take the honor token off of the Scout, which is actually, I mean, a little risky, because if he ended up being able to somehow give the Scorpion player 1 point, or if he was able to take a Scout out somehow or something, if he had Dispatch. No, yeah, taking the honor token off of the way the Scorpion made sense. So the Scorpion player wins that conflict, and doesn't break the Upholding Authority. He ends up honoring his favorite niece, which I thought was pretty interesting, because it totally looked like he was telegraphing dishonoring a unicorn character. But after playing the Forged Edict on the favored niece, he ended up honoring her again, making her not a 0/0, but it still seemed a little funny because you miss out on a point of dishonor there by honoring your own character instead of dishonoring an opponent. So I thought he might have another Forged Edict to play, since she's the only courtier in play on the Scorpion side. Also another interesting thing is there's a Shinjo Shono on the unicorn's side to buy this turn, and he doesn't have any fate on his right now. So I was trying to figure out why he didn't dupe her earlier in the turn, and I think he was passing to get passing fate. He passed early because he also had the Shinjo scout, so that was pretty interesting. So the Shinjo scout does a air attack into the it was an upside down province, but into the Shameful Display. I think he's going air more to take it off the board for the Scorpion, because if he gains 2 right now, he could steal 1, but then the Scorpion box brings him back down to where they were. It'd be much better for him to gain 2, but then it turns the Scorpion box on, so you're really only gaining 1, but you take it off the table for the Scorpion to steal 1 as well from it, so you still kind of get a net gain of 2 off of it, even with the Scorpion box on, so it makes sense to go air. So Scorpion ends up not defending and using a Fate Worse Than Death on the Shinjo Shono, which is incredibly strong. I mean, for obvious reasons, it helps him not lose the conflict. And also, since he didn't defend, it means that the air ring bounces back to the pool, which is super relevant. I think he was thinking about defending to use the Shameful because it's a free dishonor, but he ends up doing this. And then he plays a Cloud the Mind on Nurgwe, because Nurgwe obviously has a very strong ability that would make him not be able to win his next conflict. That was a pretty interesting decision there. I'm going to speed up a little bit while the players are deciding what to do. So Scorpion ends up actually going for the air ring that got bounced back. Does a military air with the niece. So he's threatening a lot of honor loss here, because if he wins the conflict, he gets to make the opponent lose 1 with the Shugenja, also steal 1, and he's losing a point at the end of the turn. So this is a lot of honor loss. Potentially, if the unicorn player loses this conflict. So he ends up playing a Bonsai, which would bring him into winning range, because right now it's 2-2. But since there's a lot of honor loss potential here, it's 2 at this point. He's thinking about kicking it, I think, because he really doesn't want to lose the conflict. Because if Scorpion has something that just pumps him up by 2, or plays a poison for -2 or something like that, I didn't see the deck list beforehand, so I'm not sure what he could have had. But he ends up kicking the Bonsai, bringing him up to 6 to try and not lose the conflict. And then the Scorpion player plays a Fate Worse Than Death on the Nurgwe, which takes him out of the conflict, and that's game, because he wins the conflict, and he gets 3 honor off of him right away because of the air ring, the Shugenja, and the unopposed. Not to mention that Shinjo Shono was leaving at the end of the turn, so the second Fate Worse Than Death shows just how important that upholding authority was earlier. I mean, it seemed pretty important when he poisoned his own character and used a Forged Edict to keep the poison on his character, and then also used the Fire Ring maybe in a way that he hadn't planned on originally, just so that he didn't break the upholding authority. But if he did, the Unicorn player definitely would have gotten rid of both of those, a Fate Worse Than Deaths, and the turn would have played out completely differently. And at this point of the stream, Alpha Squid starts explaining to me what what had happened, and I finally had put it together because I actually wasn't able to look at the screen when all that stuff was going on. So that's a part of the reason why I wanted to do a commentary over it, while instead of just having you listen to me going, oh, what stream is this? Who's playing? Anyways, that was a pretty cool last turn for the World Cup. It ended on a pretty big bang, I think. Wales getting the win, but they were down 2 wins against Spain at that point. So, but still really cool. I'm glad that I was able to catch it. I wish I'd caught the whole game, but at least I got the this play, which is really cool. So, all right. I guess I'll stop recording now. Thanks everyone for watching. Take care.